Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking at what positivity is coming your way. Now, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm filming this intro after I filmed the video, and it's summer and I turned on the air conditioning because your girl didn't want to sweat buckets. I only found out after I recorded the video that there is the tiniest bit of kind of wind whipping sound. So please still check out the video. It's not that big of a deal. It's still fantastic. I'm extremely proud of all the positivity that comes everyone's way and how the whole entire video came out. But I am aware of it, and I am going to find a better solution for the next video, and please still check out the video. It's just this one time, and it's really not that loud or in the way or anything like that. Besides that, I posted 2 new videos over on my Patreon. One is about, do spirit guides have their own opinions and personality? And that one actually is more of a complex answer than you might think. And also all about Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch, the whole, genre of that cryptid, and going into both some stories about it as well as some information. If you are interested in supporting me, my Patreon is a fantastic place to do that, and also get a ton of fresh content over there that is a combination of things like guided meditations, information from the Akashic Records, and in general, I love going over there and you can ask your spiritual questions and I answer them so that everybody gets a benefit from that information. And let me just tell you, it is quite a collection of videos over there. I'm very proud and happy with what I've built up. Also, in addition to that, I have an intuition training course and a tarot training course. In the intuition training course, you learn all about how to travel to the spirit realm, you get to meet your spirit guides, and then you get to learn how to bring information that you learn about both yourself and the world from the non-physical and apply it to your everyday practical physical life, and see that there's quite a lot of overlay there than you may realize. And in the tarot training course, both of these are fantastically paired together. They're separate, but I think they're fantastic to pair together, because in the tarot training course, you learn all about how to read tarot in the most simplistic way possible without losing all the details. And it's a fantastic way to get information right away, and it really helps out with the intuition training course. So those are available as well if you're interested. Besides that, I'm really excited to go over all the positivity. We've got 4 groups in front of us. Group number 1, Chrysocolla, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Group number 2, Pink Amethyst. Group number 3, Mookite. And group number 4, Titanium Ore. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've picked that group, let's get on our way with all this positivity with group number 1. Group number 1, let's find out what positivity is coming your way by looking at the cards. We have Abstract Oracle card in reverse, King of Cups in reverse, the Empress card upright, the 10 of Wands in reverse, and the Queen of Pentacles upright. I'm already hearing stuff about this. Okay, give me just one moment. I'm going to talk to my spirit guides and look over the cards and get the information. Ooh, interesting. Okay, this is beautiful. This is go figure a lot of positivity. Let's get into this. So first, let's look at the abstract card, which, by the way, this is so cool. See this symbol right here? Look at that. Same symbol. I love that. Anyways, going back to what we were looking at here. So the Abstract Oracle card in reverse. This is awesome. This is all about pursuing your dreams that were at first maybe more generalized in concepts and getting more into the brass tacks, the details of it all. So this is you finding more natural passion and inclination and intuition to finding and following the details that will make up and build up to the long-term plan you're working towards. What do I mean when I say that? Essentially, let's say you're like, I'm really excited, I want a better situation in my current job. Or maybe you want a better job, but you're not quite sure how to get there. You have the general dream there. Well, this is where it gets really cool. Sometimes it's the detailed type of stuff where you're like, you know what, this is how I will formulate my plan. This is where I will interview, or this is where I will put myself in a space to be more noticed or something like that. But I'm even picking up just, you're going back into work after being on break, and for some reason you decide to go down a different hallway than you normally do, or pop in a little sooner than you normally do, and you happen to run into the right person that's going to give you that opportunity, or you happen to make friends with someone who's a friend of someone to give you a better job opportunity. It's one of those things where you start to pull away from the general in your focus, not fully. We're going to actually come back to the general, interestingly enough, with the Empress card. Keep that in mind, because multiple things can be true at once. But in your day-to-day life where you're honing in your attention, you're not constantly just purely dreaming and then sort of only focusing on that dream throughout the day. It's like you might have that general dream, but you're starting to find yourself in the present moment in a helpful way, and then taking advantage of these little opportunities that seem really small, and understanding in the long term, as you see the benefits of you taking advantage of these little details, how they add up. And it's honestly, I always like to take every opportunity to better understand and fathom the universe, so to speak. And this is a great moment where you start to realize that every little single moment in your life is adding up to your advantage, and not to discount those tiny moments, that you're sort of building a giant puzzle, if you will. And this might seem like a teeny tiny piece, but that puzzle will not be fully completed without that little tiny detail. And in fact, that little tiny detail might help, and in this case will help you better formulate other puzzle pieces that you were not able to see the entire picture, if you will, without that matching piece that matched to that other side to bring in the, how when you put together a puzzle, you look at the correlating colors and patterns and stuff like that. So it's just something to consider. So this is both the excitement and the passion you find in the present moment when you scoop up these little opportunities to pay attention or do something a little bit different. These little detailed moments, rather than just being lost in the whole, but they are adding up and bringing you closer to your dreams. It's like a combination of you making plans and then moving forward with these concepts, but also just the universe working out to your advantage and you being in the right place to mentally and attention-wise receive it and then act on it, whether you're aware of it in that moment or not. You will be aware of it when it all adds up, but in the moment you might just be thinking you're being kind and making a friend. Little do you know who that friend is and who they know. Then we have the King of Cups. This is like what I would like to describe as dark positivity. So it's still positive, but essentially my spirit guide was telling me that you will basically no longer be under the thumb of a very emotionally controlling and manipulative person. I love how my spirit guide described this. This is very cute. They said, you will become more of the main character of your life rather than having to just sit there and receive this sort of brunt of however they want to express or project their emotions. Which, by the way, projecting your emotions in that way isn't cool. So this is fantastic. It's dark because, that's maybe not the most fun to experience. Let's be real, it's not any fun, but the coolest part is it is naturally, let me just see if there's anything you need to do. I got the vibe it was more of a natural turn of events. Yeah, my spirit guide said natural turn of events, where this person's influence is out of your life. They're no longer putting you in this position, and you get to no longer, it's really interesting when we come out of these difficult circumstances. Initially, we have to like tune back into ourselves and realize, wow, first you're just in sort of survival mode, if you will, and that's what you were potentially in. I don't want to, make any blanket statements here, but you were potentially in that mindset of what can I do to feel better in this moment due to the circumstances this other person's putting me in? What can I do to make them happy so that I don't get the brunt of an experience, or just kind of handling the baseline needs and emotional situation. Well, when this person's gone, you suddenly realize there are sort of another way of thinking. Maybe you either haven't exercised in some time, or you get to exercise for the first time in a way maybe you didn't even know, where it's more than just feeling good, but thinking for yourself in a proactive way. Remember, if this is main character energy, my spirit guide said, well, not if, they said it was main character energy. When it is main character energy like this, you are going like, I'm not just going to feel good today. I'm going to be inspired and feel like I'm going to go on a hike. And then I'm going to go on that hike. And then I'm going to feel magical and collect fun things from the forest, or I don't know, go talk to trees, whatever your vibe is, make friend with a wildlife animal. I say that jokingly, by the way. Don't do that in case, depending on the animal. Anyways, maybe a fun rabbit or something like that. Anyways, so it's about you feeling quite a dramatic change, if you will. And that concept of transformation is actually going to pop up again when we talk about the Queen of Pentacles over here. Now for the Empress card. I know I said that while your focus and attention for the most part in your day-to-day living life is going to become more present and focused on those little detailed moments where you notice something a little different, or you feel the inclination to do something a little different, and you take that urge and inspiration, just like we talked about with the main character energy over here. But in the Empress card, this is a fantastic time where abundance is going to be coming into your life more, and you're going to be available for it and to receive it. But we're going to get a little more specific than that. My spirit guide said now is a good time. Now we're in the future. Now and into the future. Hold on, let me just double confirm this. My spirit guide's like, you heard me correctly. So what you're going to do going forward now and into the future is you're going to start practicing manifesting regularly. In the morning, throughout the day, you're going to make it, it's going to be a really fun thing. But when you are manifesting, you are going to keep these manifestations pretty general and then let them go and forget about it. So you're going to start the day and be like, I'm going to have just a great day. Everything's going to be easy. Or maybe somewhere on the day, you're like, I'm going to have a lot of success at work today. You're keeping it vague. And the main reason why you're keeping it vague is you're creating an air of abundance. But I want to be clear about the concept of abundance when we're talking about it in this manner. So we're talking about the idea of abundance being a lot of opportunities. It doesn't mean you can't get a lot of money or a lot of things. Abundance is everything, though. It's not just one concept. It's not just a lot of money. It's not just a lot of positive attention. It's not just a lot of love. It is a lot of a lot. So by making these generalized statements of kind of, you're sort of putting a perfume, if you will. Think of it like you're sweetening and perfuming your day with an intention. And so you're practicing manifestation by putting that intention out there, but by keeping it generalized and keeping it open enough, even more general than certain dreams. Like, I'm not saying you can't have general dreams like, I want a better career, like we just talked about that, but definitely focus more on concepts like, I'm gonna get really in touch with nature today, and just keep it like vague like that. Just do that. You never know if throughout the day someone doesn't treat you to a little plant, or you're gonna be given an opportunity to be in someone's garden or something like that. You get what I'm saying here. Keep it general, and you're essentially saying to the universe, I am open to however you want to send this to me in any manner, however it's going to pop up. And you're also, when we talk about fathoming the universe and being in touch with it, it's like you're tuning in and realizing, oh, so if I can receive in any possible way, there's going to be ways I haven't even thought of. So I'm essentially speeding up the manifesting and receiving process by getting out of the way, not worrying about how it's going to come to me, but I'm also realizing I have more control in my life, and maybe life isn't always purely focusing on, I know we often talk here on this channel about things like, your career, your love life, things like that, but maybe there's ways that your life can be even better in concepts you haven't fathomed yet. And by opening up these generalized ideas, they're going to pop into your life more. Like, this could be really simple. You just get a lot of good parking spaces and you're like, wow, that did make me feel really great. That was fun. That was a very small, mundane version of magic, but it meant something. And you'll start to realize sort of your quality of life improve by opening both yourself up and the universe up to quicken the process and give it an opportunity to be presented to you. Because if you're only focused on like career, you're missing out on all this other possible, again, quality of life, positive things that could come your way. So again, generalized, regularly manifesting, it's a good prime time for you to do it and to receive it. So you could do one right now during this video or after this video. Just take a second to just take a moment after this reading and say something generalized like that to invite into your life in a positive way. That's always fun. Now going over here to the Ten of Wands in reverse, keeping, like we talked about, this positivity going. So this is fantastic. You are going to get a great sense of relief going forward, which I'm really excited for you. What I'm saying when I'm saying this is, this is talking about tension relief, this sense of like, oh, I'm not dealing with so much responsibility. Or, as my spirit guide was giving me more details earlier when I was looking over this information, they said that you're going to get help from machines, people that want to help you, and opportunities. So sometimes that sense of tension relief is like, maybe you want to treat yourself and you get a really cool garbage, like self-sealing garbage can. And you're like, it's just nice that the garbage seals itself off and creates a new bag and I don't have to do anything. It's just one less difficult way of performing some form of errand or chore, in your daily life. And then sometimes there are these when I'm seeing these like images being shown to me by my spirit guide and my own self, I'm seeing like you thinking, oh man, I really wanted the weekend to myself. I didn't want to work this extra day or whatever. And someone volunteering themselves and saying like, hey, I overheard you. I actually really want to work that extra day, or I see you've been working hard. Let me help you out. Let me take that off your hand. And you being like, yes, thank you. So there's like a combination of quality of life. Like, I don't mean to repeat that phrase so much, but it's the perfect phrase. It's like you finding that sense of easiness and relief from either people helping you and, taking away like that responsibility you don't have to do. Small little improvements where you actively get inspired to maybe organize something in your life, and therefore it's less difficult to like clean something up and, like we talked about before, perform a chore. Or there's opportunities that take away having to perform certain errands or responsibilities altogether by it showing up and you taking advantage of it. So there's a great sense of relief. And this is something really interesting to think about if you're enjoying my tarot course and you're a tarot reader yourself. You always want to look at context of cards. And it's really interesting how similar cards can have similar vibes, but you really want to think about the subtext of it. So this is like a side rant, but the Ten of Wands in reverse, I think a good comparing card to this would be the Four of Swords upright. Same concept, resting, taking a break, nap, but we have different subtexts here. If I had gotten the Four of Swords for your reading, I would say that you're someone who has been working really hard and you need a break. But with the Ten of Wands, I'm getting more of a greater context, not that you haven't been working hard, but that a lot of work has been thrusted upon you. So that the relief, when there's the sense of relief and energy coming from the Four of Swords upright, this is someone that's like, you know what, I deserve to take a break, I'm taking a break. But the Ten of Wands is this feeling of like something being unloaded off of your shoulders. There was this fear of the future, this fear of like, what if I let go, and it just being relieved, and a sense of like, I can breathe again, because you don't have to combat, like it's more of a combination of like I'm sorry, I'm not trying to ramble, I'm trying to find the right words. Four of Swords is like you make the choice. 10 of Wands is like opportunities being given to you for it to be relieved off. That's more of the energy I'm getting here. So just something to think about when you're trying to dig deeper and get more details into your own personal card readings. Anyways, going further. So now last we have the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is really fun because she also has a manifestation vibes, and I was asked my spirit guide about it, but my spirit guide said focus more on the beautiful little peacocks we have around here. So my spirit guide said that in this particular case, remember, animal spirit guides, this is like a side note, I talk about this in great detail on my Patreon. And if you have any spiritual questions, go over my Patreon. I talk about this stuff all in detail. But anyways, animal spirit guides, while they might be commonly known for certain spiritual concepts, first off, they can represent many. There's not sole one representation. There's a ton of different meanings. But I'll be honest with you, the vast majority of people's experience, both personally for me and the people I've helped, get to the spirit realm and people I've heard interacting with their spirit guides, when it comes to your animal spirit guides or an animal spirit guide, well, technically it's the same thing, but you get what I'm saying. The animal spirit guides, they might come to you and want to give you a message and talk to you about something that has literally nothing to do with what you think that concept is. So I'm just putting that out there, that if you're enjoying spending time with your animal spirit guide, or an animal spirit guide pops up or is trying to communicate with you, that doesn't necessarily mean they are purely representing the spiritual meaning that they technically represent. So just putting that out there, just so you are available for all messages. Anyways, so in this particular case, my spirit guide was telling me about how in this version of Peacock, it is representing the idea of receiving manifestation through transformation of self. So it shows you, one, we talk about subtext of tarot cards. It's got this really cool vibe of you receiving these things that you want. And with it being a queen, this is both you being proactive, you making it yourself, and we talked about that a lot of proactiveness here, which we talked about. But also, Queen is a pretty big card. Queen and Kings are like you're at the end of you're receiving it. You're there. You're at the big goals. So it shows the magnitude of what you're receiving in manifestation. So keep dreaming big, keep going out there, keep moving forward. Very, very cool. But also, when we talk about that idea of transforming in the pursuit of the manifestation, you are going to basically be transforming. As you move closer to these goals, you will find yourself becoming a new person with new opinions and maybe presenting yourself in different ways, however that may be, and whether that be physically or ideas or expression or whatever it is. But however it is, you are going to find you are a different person than when you began this dream, which is not a bad thing in the least. It's actually wonderful. But again, we want to go a little further in that concept of food for thought, thinking a little bit deeper about how the universe is, working together and how things mirror themselves, which I talk a lot about in the intuition training course that I have. But think about it. Sometimes people say, this isn't always the case. Manifesting, you can manifest a bunch of different ways. There isn't one pure way to manifest, which is really fun and cool. And it really just depends on who you are, where you're at, what manifestation technique works best. But sometimes when people are trying to get to that end goal and attract it into their life, they will sort of mirror or mimic what they think they will look like at the end of that concept. So sometimes people who are looking for a romantic partner will, sleep on one side of the bed to theoretically and metaphorically make room for them, that type of concept. Now, this is not something you need to force in the least. You're going to naturally find yourself changing as you continue to manifest and receive and move forward towards even bigger goals and concepts. Maybe there's a goal and concept you don't even know you're working towards, but as you wish for smaller things and you receive them, it helps better distinguish what the bigger goals are. But as you're receiving them and changing and growing and becoming a part of yourself you didn't even know you wanted to become, and really finding that inner sense of voice, which is really beautiful, you will become the person you need to be in order to receive that manifestation. So it's not only interesting, that idea of like you are mirroring the person you need to be for the situation, but another food for thought is that it isn't forced, and that everything will work out beautifully as it is, and that as you might make decisions that, now again, we're keeping it positive here, but sometimes when we decide who we are, other people are not a fan of that. I want to be clear, that's a them problem. That's not a you problem. That's a them problem. Sometimes we need to set boundaries that, make other people mad when they don't want those boundaries and stuff like that. Or maybe we want to be a version of ourselves that other people just can't fathom. And whoever that is, well, it might feel confusing, or you're just sort of testing it out, or maybe not, maybe other people don't understand, or they do understand. I'd like to manifest into your life people that do support whatever it is you want to choose going forward. You're going to find that process is not only going to be magical, but be rewarding. So, yay! Lots of positivity, would you not agree? Wow, I am surprised. That felt like, in a really good way, felt like 4 hours. I felt very into this reading, and I hope you felt it too. I love you guys so much. Please help this video get tons of views by leaving a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos or future positivity I want to send your way. I'm wishing you the best. I am so excited for you, sincerely. I'll see you in the next one, and let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's see what positivity is coming your way by looking at the cards. We have World of Dreams Oracle card in reverse, which, let me just take a moment. Look how pretty this is. It's very Dune. Would you not agree? Let me look. We have, 5 of Wands upright. We have 7 of Cups in reverse. We have 6 of Cups upright. I'm so curious. Do you guys, when you guys read tarot, and we have Judgment card in reverse, when you guys read tarot, do you prefer the alternative versions that sometimes tarot says? So sometimes there'll be chalices instead of cups, torches instead of wands. Do you guys prefer one or the other? I'm just generally curious. Anyways, okay, so give me one moment to talk to my spirit guide and look at all this information, and I'll come back to you in a couple seconds. Just give me a moment. Ooh, I love this. Let me ask one more thing. Okay, let's get started with this World of Dreams Oracle card in reverse. This one is very magical, and what I love about this is there is an exercise my spirit guide was suggesting that you guys perform in order to make this happen. That is very like, and I'm about to make my point in one moment, just let me say this concept first. When you are working with the spirit realm and spirit guides, and you start to go beyond the physical world in concept and consciousness, and understand duality and bigger ideas, it works in much more abstract ways than people might fully be aware of. It's not hard to fathom, it's not difficult, it's just not the way that you would normally think. Things are going to always be a little bit different. That is a huge reason why if you're finding personal frustration trying to understand something, this in itself is a good exercise to realize there's always another way of looking at things, and it isn't always just literally or as straightforward as it seems. It might be a little more nuanced, a little bit outside of the box type of thinking, very 5D type of thinking. Anyway, so what the World of Dreams is about, upright, this is how my spirit guide is putting it. And they said, so I'll put it upright so it makes sense. They said, think of your world as your closest reality that you're experiencing. So whatever you're doing in your day-to-day life is your personal reality. It's your world. And your dreams are something that's sort of out beyond the scope, not quite etched into the horizon, as my spirit guide was beautifully putting it. And we want to take this in a mental imagery. Now, if you cannot visualize images, you don't have to see them like movies in your head to still have a sense of visualization and seeing in different ways without actually visually seeing. So just some food for thought if you're like, I can't see images in my head. Girl, neither can I, and I have psychic vision and all that other stuff. Trust me, you can see in different ways. But anyways, so you're going to take some time to meditate on this idea. So you're going to close your eyes and think about yourself in your own personal world. And you're going to imagine your dreams are sort of around you, like the planets in this picture. They're almost there, you're aware they exist, but they're not quite set in a way that you can visit them. So guess what? In reverse, this is about doing sort of a reverse, if you will, with the concept of your world feeling more physical and tangible in reality, and those dreams seeming non-physical and seeming intangible. You are going to start to visualize them into form. And so what I want you to think about is not just the idea of living your everyday dream life. So let's say you want to have a particular romantic partner, or you want a particular career thing to happen. Don't just visualize the idea of you in that dream and you're going to go make that thing happen. There is still a sense of perspective of it being the physical world, and then there's still a part of your brain that goes, well, how is this going to happen? And it creates this sort of, again, when we talk about the spirit realm working in a different way, when in the physical world, it creates a natural effect of us asking particular questions that only sends us down certain roads, and then we wonder why we get the same effects. We're going to try to skip that concept. Instead, what you're going to do as an exercise, this is a meditative exercise. You can even do this before sleep if you want. But you're going to imagine yourself sitting. So you're literally sitting, and in this imaginary realm, you're going to imagine yourself sitting. And you're going to visualize yourself sitting in your maybe bedroom, or maybe you're in a beautiful Howl's Moving Castle landscape, and you're sitting, and you're just seeing yourself sitting there. And then you're going to imagine something that represents a dream or something that you would like to have happen. But you're going to think of it as one concept, like a vase, that person, maybe a pencil to represent, maybe you want to be an architect in like a building or something like that. Just like one or two things. Because when we think of ourselves in that dream, we think of them as like concepts. So you're going to think of that concept, but then I want you to start to imagine it from existing in sort of the sky, hanging up, kind of not quite around you. You want to imagine it far away first. Then you're going to bring it close to you, and you're going to put it around you. You're going to think of it tangibly coming into your existence. That's the main key part of the meditation you're going to practice. That you're somewhere, and that's something that non-physical, you're going to acknowledge that it's non-physical, that's just kind of a very blurry sketch in the sky, and then you're going to imagine it coming closer and gaining more form. You're going to think of its texture, you're going to think of it coming into reality, what's the weight of it. Just look at it in all sense of the word, and you're really teaching your subconscious, like, wow, look at that, I just did that. Like, I could make what is effectively, technically non-existent, existent. And the more simplified you make it with these objects representing these dreams and stuff, it's easier for that part of your brain to accept that it is possible and it isn't something so far out of the way. Because we might initially accept that concept of the dream in theory, but then when we start to get closer to it, we get anxious, we're not sure how, what's it going to do, why hasn't it happened yet? See how those natural questions happen? But the reason why, and this is, manifestation is really interesting. You can do it so many different ways. It just depends on who you are and what where you were at in life and what technique works for each version of you and where you're at and so on and so forth. This is you triggering that positive part of your brain, that one little tiny part of your brain, that all it needed to realize was how simple it was. It's an abstract way of viewing it, but unbeknownst to most of us, there's a lot more abstract things going on than we really take note of. And this is teaching your brain that, seeing the world as that, and then as you move forward with those dreams and concepts you have moving forward, there's this feeling and sensation and idea of being like, wow, I just imagined that existence. Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible for me to make all my dreams come true. It's just a building. It's just a pencil. It's just a vase. It's just a concept. And you're practicing that idea. You're basically teaching your brain easy, easy, so easy, so easy. So, yay to all your dreams becoming reality, but you're going to practice this technique to positively affect your subconscious and your brain to bring that in. But remember, you're being proactive about bringing it in, and it's like a good time for you to do it. This is like that you were looking for the technique to do. This is your technique, and I'm so excited for you. Thank you for letting me say that whole spiel. It was a long bit, but it was a full concept. So now on to the Five of Wands, which is a lot more succinct. So this is fantastic. My spirit guide said that you are going to make dramatic changes in your life. Very big changes in your life. And I love how they said it. They said, with a vengeance. Oh, I don't know if my air conditioner is getting too loud. No, she's fine. Okay. So when you are making these changes, you're not making them in spite of a particular person, but it feels like you have been through some stuff for it to pop up in this way, and you're contemplating that concept, what you've been through, what other people have put you through. So you're not thinking, well, they said I couldn't move here, so I'm going to move here. It's more like you're thinking about it, you're really contemplating, like, yeah, I really did went through that. I cannot believe I allowed myself to be talked to that way. I cannot believe I allowed myself to go through that. And you're thinking about it and you're resolving it. And this is very much a feeling of aftermath, like you're no longer in that circumstance, but you're realizing, like, you know what? I am going to live life. I am going to make this happen. And I love how my spirit guide said this. They said, anger is not always bad. And I think that's something really beautiful that I don't think gets expressed enough in the spiritual community. Every emotion is valid, and there is something really positive and empowering about each one. Don't think because you suffer from guilt or shame or anger or anxiety or sadness or anything like that, that somehow you are quote unquote low vibration. I could make a whole video about that. That is not true. Do not think that you cannot still be in the flow and move towards your dreams. And in fact, everything happening for a reason. You don't know what state you needed to be in to help motivate you to the next one. And no one said that getting to the next state was going to always be just, unanimously utopian happy. Sometimes you need a little bit of fury to get you to the next one. And this feels like a really positive version of that. It's you letting out steam and being like, yeah, I'm going to do, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm moving. I don't like this. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to get this thing. And it feels positive and intense, and it feels like you're sort of more positively, again, you can express yourself however you would like, but it feels like instead of spending your time fantasizing in your head, yelling at the other person that put you through these things or experience that you had, whatever it may be, it feels like you're more positively acting as sort of like a coach for your past self, and you're being like, we're doing this now, okay? We're not wasting our time anymore here. We're gonna do this. So it's a very interesting emotion to pop up for a reading, but a fantastic one. So expect a lot of proactive changes that you're making. They're not happening randomly, and because you are the one making them, there's a lot of choice, empowerment, and excitement without feeling blindsided by some changes. Sometimes that happens, and that's okay, but this is something that you're very conscious of, and it feels fun, like a life project. So I love that. Now moving on to the Seven of Cups in reverse. Now talking about being proactive, this is about choices, my spirit guide said. My air conditioner is getting kind of opinionated, loud. Anyways, going on. So in the Seven of Cups, this is about choices specifically, and I love how my spirit guide was phrasing this. They said it's not so much the focus on there being opportunities in your life, the way this card traditionally can mean, but rather the idea that you're going to be in more and more circumstances where the universe is bending to your will to have more choices. And understand the subtext of that idea, that you are going to have more free will and ability to tweak and bend your life to be exactly as you want it to be that much of a better circumstance. We know that some of it is you just going out of your way to be like, I'm going to have this better circumstance. But there are, going forward, just more things thrown into your lap to being like, well, do you want to do this or this? And you being like, well, obviously I want to do that. If that's the easier solution, or if that's the thing that matches me more and stuff like that. There's more and more of it being presented to you and you having more and more of a choice. And the really cool thing about this, I'm going to just double check real quickly with my spirit guide on this one. They already said yes. They were already like, yep, correct. There's like, what I'm seeing is the type of stuff that, it's, how do I say this? It's really interesting what makes us happy in life. Sometimes you can live just like your normal mundane life, like the most of us do. And it's just being able to choose your own drink order, or getting to choose which store you want to shop at to get that thing. You could get it at any store, but you just loved going to this store instead. Getting to choose an easier route, that type of thing. And it appears that these are going to pop up more and more, sort of be presented to you by other people and the universe, and you getting to then make the best possible choice for you. And those little choices really add up. They are not only like, it just feels good to feel like you have control of your life, but it's you essentially editing your life to be as wonderful as possible. Yes, it can include magic if you want it to, but I'm feeling a strong sense of like just leisure, like more comfortable, better fit, more relaxing, just more convenient, less of that mundane, not mundane, the trivial stuff. Like that, you know how sometimes people put others in positions at jobs to do trivial stuff that you're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this. You would get the option to not have to do that, which I think is really cool. So love that for you. Then the Six of Cups upright, or chalices if you prefer. Now this is actually a romantic based card, and this is also very interesting in conceptual idea. So it's not so much the focus that you're going to meet somebody and that person is going to be your soulmate and the love of your life and so on and so forth. It's not that that's not possible, and it is about you meeting people more easily and attracting more people easily. And if you are currently with someone, this also goes for you too. But it's the headspace and the energy you're admitting and then instantly seeing results back, which is you being in a headspace to sort of like see, be open to, and kind of focused on love in a very easy way. Sometimes loving people in this way is difficult. It can be very vulnerable, or you're like not quite sure what's the best version of you, and you feel like you're overthinking the whole process rather than being yourself, and then there's acceptance, and it's a whole thing. This is you just really easily feeling like you understand what that truly means, being ready for it, and easily finding it either with your current partner you have, or finding that you'll notice many are drawn to you. And whatever the interaction you have, whether it be for a short time period or it be more serious and longer, both are available. This is just kind of your circumstantial situation. The more important idea we want to focus on here when we talk about positivity coming your way is that sometimes you can have a short interaction with someone, but it could be amazing. You move on, you're not hung up on it, you just look back and you're like, yeah, I met this other individual and we just really got each other, and it was nice for what it was, and I felt like my best self and I enjoyed their best self, and that was smooth and easy, and that's what it was. And that's the important thing to focus on here. Like I said, it can be long-term, it can be serious if you want it, and that's the circumstance that pops up. It's more that you're focused on love, and you're easily able to admit it and easily able to receive it, and the whole thing doesn't feel overthought. It's just something you sort of slide into one day and find your world positively changing around you. So I love that. That's really sweet and beautiful. And another way to perceive things, again, when we talk about viewing things in the spirit realm, again, I'm not trying to make a blanket statement about love. I want to be absolutely clear about that, because that is such, all of these topics are so like multifaceted. There's many correct answers. But if you, a spirit realm way of viewing, approaching to find someone you're compatible with, wouldn't be focused on the idea of being like, I'm going to meet someone. I'm going to meet someone. It would be like connecting deeply to the idea of the general connection within yourself, and therefore by default attracting that connection. So you don't even need to worry about the other person. That right person's going to match that connection. Do you see what I'm saying here? See, when we talk about viewing it in a different way? Last but not least, judgment. Judgment's kind of interesting here, being read in reverse. Now, the way my spirit guide was describing the visual element of this card, because again, if you're familiar with my tarot training course, you can read tarot cards through visual aids. It doesn't have to be through the traditional way that the cards are read traditionally for their meanings. So the way my spirit guide is describing this person is sort of clutching this dove or pigeon, however you want to put it. They're trying to clutch this bird. They're trying to capture it. And I'm happy to say that this is the representation, especially with it being reversed. That's the happy part. This is representing... let me ask if this is someone or a couple people. Okay, so my spirit guide said for a vast majority of you guys, it's a couple people, but there are a few people where it's just one person. So it's the idea that somebody is trying to sort of capture you and prevent you from being your free-flowing self as we see in the bird. And I'm happy to say it's in reverse. This is them naturally being in a position where they both release you, but also being in a position where they cannot, quote unquote, capture you again. There is freedom, and I know that sounds like a bizarre thing to talk about, but well, I think it's a very important thing that most people unconsciously want in their life. They don't want to feel like they're being held back or aren't able to truly be themselves whenever they want to be. So there is that sense of relinquishment, but that comfort to know it's not going to happen again. And I'm really happy to say, depending on if this is just one person or if this is many, because sometimes we are in circumstances where your life is sort of trying to communicate with you, and you find that relationship concept repeated throughout a couple different archetypes in your life. Isn't that wonderful that they're all gonna just naturally, they're gonna be in a position to release you. Maybe they're inspired to want to release you, so they're just not putting you in this annoying situation where you're not able to flow and do your thing. But also, that's gone. Maybe they might have one day been like, I'm not going to be so hard on them. And then the next they get fired. You know what I mean? Then they can't do it again. So this is fantastic. I would definitely say the theme of this entire reading is a great sense of freedom beyond even this physical realm when we talk about what's going on over here in the World of Dreams card in reverse. This is full of a lot of viewing the world around us and the way we view concepts in an entirely different way. It's about exercising that and not being ashamed of whatever it is we need to process in the pursuit of becoming our whole selves. When we talk about, going through a bit of anger in a cool way, to use it to our benefit and a way to motivate us moving forward. And just honestly realizing that those opportunities, that we have more choices and we can take advantage of them, that sometimes what I'm trying to get at here is sometimes we're in one avenue of our life and it might not be what we wanted it to be. And sometimes it feels like, is this it? Is this the rest of my life? And we not only get out of it, but we are rewarded and shown, oh no, girl or boy or person. That was just a segment for you to understand something. You understand it. You really understand it. And now you're going to see another path. You're going to see another avenue. And it's fantastic and it's totally opposite and you're in complete control. And you can make it as great and as easy, as comfortable as possible. So I love you to pieces. I hope you enjoyed this. Please help this video get tons of views, and give it a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. And let's get ready for our third group. Group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out what positivity is coming your way by looking at the cards. We have Give It Time in Reverse Oracle card. We have Knight of Pentacles upright, Queen of Cups upright, the Emperor in reverse, and 5 of Cups upright. Okay, give me one moment to look at the details of this card reading with my spirit guide. Give me one moment. Oh, interesting. This feels like a really big concept and lesson we're going to go over in the sense of its importance in your life. And the reason why I'm talking about the importance, if you're familiar with my tarot training course, is we're always looking at subtext. While these are two different subjects, they kind of run into each other and have sort of a metaphor working itself out, a bigger picture we're talking about. And for it to be the predominant place of the card reading, it shows you its importance. But we'll get to that in one moment. First, let's start with the Give It Time Oracle card in reverse. So, this is, as it appears, pretty point blank and literal, especially it being in reverse. This is about not taking any more time. My spirit guide said that you are going to get instant gratification for decisions that are made in the moment. There's no more time to be wasted. You're supported to be impulsive, make decisions right away. Don't think about it. Do what feels great and just move forward. Don't make it a bigger deal than it needs to be made, and just make decisions, make them in the moment, make them strong, have an opinion, and go for it in the moment. Don't take time to think about it. You're going to make the right decision. You're going to see instant gratification for it, and it's just pretty point blank, which again, when we talk about subtext of reading, that's really interesting. It makes me wonder if you're the type of person who's like, hold on, I need a minute, I need to think about it. I feel like this is teaching you the lesson in life that things maybe aren't as serious as they seem. Even if it's a big decision, like you're choosing where to go for like a job opportunity, there's going to be more job opportunities. Who says after a month of being there, if you change your mind, not even because the place is a bad placement, but you find a better opportunity or you want to go down a different field, you can't do that. And the faster you make decisions, the quicker you get to move on to the next sort of, you could think of it as you tweaking your life in a positive way. You better understand, now that I'm living that dream and goal, do I still want to do this dream and goal anymore? And whatever I got to experience out of it in the time I did, that's great. I experienced it. Now on to the next thing. And this is just sort of opening you up to show you the positivity that can come into your life by being that sort of decisive and proactive in your life. But again, the main thing we're getting out of this card is the reward for having an opinion and making it pretty quickly and not sitting there and making it something that you really need to mull over. Because remember, there's always going to be more opportunities, more decisions. You're going to make the right one. You'll make them. That will move you to the next one, and so on and so forth. And essentially, you are living more life, if you will. I don't want to view things in quantity in that kind of way because that's such a subjective idea, but you're speeding up the process in a really positive way. So love that for you. Then the Knight of Pentacles. This one is super abstract in a wonderful way. It's a general concept, but we want to focus on the idea of the general process concept. I was actually talking about this in the previous grouping, but I'll just share this again over here. So when people are interested in either working with or exploring the spirit realm, that's all my intuition training course and stuff like that, The thing is, when you are figuring out how to move to the next stage in life, understand manifesting, again, working with spirit guides in the spirit realm, things are not as you may think they are. Because go figure, you have been thinking and working through life in one way in the physical world, and go figure that if you'd like some change, you got to perceive things a little bit different. So it might, from an outside perspective, seem the same decisions and outlook initially from the one perspective, which we're going to call this, it's not the non-physical, but it's very similar to a spirit realm type of thinking, 5D type of thinking, so we're going to just define it as that, compared to the physical version where you think in a certain way, so on and so forth. They might seem very similar from an outside perspective, but where your headspace is at, where your intention is at, and then the way you're approaching it can dramatically have different effects and results and feelings and emotions and everything. So I love that, because this is a great exercise to realize there is always a different, more out-of-the-box way of perceiving your choices and decisions and how much that can positively benefit you, because go figure, doing something than you normally did is going to have a different result in a great way. But also, maybe it's something that you can take and practice moving forward in life. So, what do we mean by all this? So, the way my spirit guide was breaking this down is the knight is representing across the board, all the knights in the tarot deck, this general sense of energy and attitude of bringing something and carrying it with them. So it's less of this idea of like the page where we're talking about, and the reason why I'm breaking this down is if you're familiar with my tarot training course or you read tarot for yourself, sometimes we need to break down the concept to fully express the idea and even for ourselves to better understand it. So with the page, that type of attitude of the card is like a student. They're figuring things out, they're trial and error. Queen is very creating, very self-independent. It's a sense of it coming from them. King is like the master of it. But what does a knight bring? It's someone who's like, think of them as the theme of the book, the general attitude of the book. They're bringing, you can feel this vibe, this concept being presented throughout the book, but it's not the necessary details. But the attitude of something, the feeling around it, the atmosphere is extremely important and can dictate how people really feel and enjoy whatever they are taking in, whether that be a book, movie, whatever. So it's very general and abstract in concept, but still very important. And then we talk about the pentacle. Now, the pentacle has several different meanings, but in this particular case, my spirit guide said it is focused specifically on your health and taking care of your body and your relationship to it in a positive way. So doing things that are like drinking water, or maybe doing something flexible or strength building, or maybe you just gonna go out and move yourself around, whatever, something like that. Anyways, so it's this attitude of bringing it with you, bringing that focus in that kind of way, in a positive way, with you, rather than you focusing on it and putting it into you. And what I mean by that statement is sometimes, again, I just want to, in case anybody's sensitive about this topic, I'm trying to come at this in the most delicate way possible. So just keep that in mind. If this is something you need to skip forward to by a couple, by like a minute or two, that's totally understandable, but I'm just putting that out there. We're talking about this subject. So, many people, when they are moving forward towards making these positive choices, it can sometimes become unhealthy. And it can feel like you're being controlled by these decisions, or feel like they are controlling you. I guess that's the same concept I'm trying to say. And it can feel like when you're moving forward and you go from the house to, maybe you're going to go pick up a coffee, it feels like you're looking inward in a way that starts to not become fun anymore. And it becomes something you maybe need to calculate or focus on or keep track of. And it doesn't feel, positive, which it should be as an experience. This feels more like it's on the outside of you. And let me explain this abstract concept. We're gonna try to work our way to this to the best I can be without being too general or too rambly. I'm just trying to explain this in a way so you can positively move forward with this. But I'm really excited about this energy that you're naturally, like, this is a thing that you're naturally bringing with you. It feels like when you move forward, again, we use the example of from the house to you're going to go order a, delicious coffee drink or something like that, at whatever cafe you like to go to. It's this sensation where you're emanating this energy that you're going to make the best possible decision that's going to make you feel the best about you. And it's going to naturally gravitate towards you. It's not something you need to think about. It's not something that you define yourself or hold as leverage over other people. It's just this natural sensation of you emanate the best again, healthiest version of you. And so again, it's not something you need to look at all the little details, overthink it, compare one concept to another concept and see, well, this had this results for them and this. It doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like you walk into a room and and it naturally jumps out at you, and you feel great as you drink the best possible coffee drink for you that makes you feel like the best version of you. And it's just sort of an energy that you emanate, and so you feel like you're making decisions for you rather than against or towards you. And it's not something that you feel like is defining your whole life and focusing inward. It's just this beautiful array of connection. A good example of this would be like nature. Think of yourself like nature. A flower doesn't need to worry about anything other than it's going to make the right decisions it needs to be that best flower it can be. It needs water and sunlight and being outdoors and being surrounded by, let's be real, plants love good vibes, and whether that be talking or other, happy plants and so on and so forth, and happy animals and such. So that does not have the same sort of strain that some people put onto that subject. It is carrying that energy naturally with it. It doesn't think about anything else but being a lovely flower, and you get what I'm saying here. So hopefully that was done in the most sensitive manner possible, and I hope you feel excited, feeling so naturally in tune with yourself in the universe, and understand that this is something that naturally is happening. And the main thing that we're getting out of this is that you feel like it is your proactive choice, and you are positively experiencing and emanating an energy and not being controlled by one. You're carrying it, you're emanating it. You don't got to focus on it. You don't need to worry about the details. It will work itself out, and is a much more positive relationship with yourself in this idea. So I love that for you. That is such a big topic for a lot of people, and I think that's such a beautiful way to live life. You be the best flower you could be. Now on to the Queen of Cups. This is fantastic. I am just over the moon for you for this one with what my spirit guide was saying, especially with where it's going to leak over here. So in the Queen of Cups, I love that I used that verb because of water and an accidental fun pun. But with the Queen of Cups, she is somebody who is extremely emotionally balanced. But I want to focus on an idea my spirit guide was telling me about when it came to this card. This is showing you very emotionally balanced when decision making. It doesn't feel like when you make a decision that it then makes you have sort of some type of erratic reaction. And that is not any statement or judgment. Sometimes we feel very pulled by our emotions. It feels like they control us. And it is very uncomfortable, and our first instinct is to cater to it and see what to do to feel better. And it's not a fun experience to go through. But in this case, it feels like you just naturally feel this evenness, this balance. And that rather than sort of think of that cup, this chalice over here, think of it as a decision coming into your life, or an opportunity you're going to make or have a reaction to something happening, an event or something like that. And normally when it feels imbalanced, it feels like that chalice is just dragging through the ocean, just ripping and creating waves that you're like, like now I got to sort my waves out. And how did I feel about that? Do I want that chalice? What was that like? It's an experience. Think of instead the energy and the vibrations my spirit guide was showing me is that chalice instead popping up, and you, as the beautiful ocean and wave that you are, just melting and moving and spinning around the chalice, evaluating, thinking about it, making decisions, being proactive in your life, moving forward. But while you still feel things, and you might not always like some things, it feels like you evaluate, understand, and you're able to process that in a much more comfortable manner for you. So it feels like decision making is easier. It feels like facing things is a lot easier. And let's be real, the bottom, of the matter, the heart of the matter, that's what I would say, the heart of the matter is that you feel more comfortable when living life and choosing and deciding what you're going to do next, which is really beautiful. And I love how much that is like facing towards the Knight of Pentacles, similar concepts like we were talking about, a different sort of relationship and experience with these ideas. But remember, Queen of Cups is also existing independently on her own as an idea. So the positivity coming in your life is that as you are making decisions and moving forward in your life, you just feel a lot more like in control of your own emotional experience, which is beautiful and lovely and much more wonderful. Now, what's going over here is like a big idea in the importance it has. So the Emperor in reverse, my spirit guide was telling me, is someone they said male-dominated energy. This is really important here because I was picking that up really intensely and I was like double checking. This is an important thing when you are in general psychically reading things, when you're reading tarot. Just because the energy feels male doesn't mean it is a male. Just to be clear, because sometimes, females have very strong male-dominant energy, no matter how they, wherever they feel that they fit and however they want to identify. This though, is a male-dominant energy, as in, yes, there is a predominant, in because this is a general reading, in a lot of avenues, this is a male, but in some very few cases, it's just a female with a very intense male-dominating energy. Anyways, this individual seems to have not brought really happiness to your life. And the biggest thing I'm picking up on a subtle nature, and in the images that are like coming to my head and I'm being shown basically, is that it's not always that they are controlling like your every single move and decision. It's more that their energy is so intense, as we were just explaining, that when you're just vibing and doing your own thing, it's like you can feel the energy. You feel like there's a sense of negative vibes, controlling vibes, oppressive vibes, just in the area. You don't love those vibes. And even though nothing might be happening for like a couple days or weeks, and even if something happens, it's just a comment, it's not that big of a deal. It's that intense, and it's that sort of not great vibes that we just spoke about before that you'd love not in your life. Well, it appears that as you naturally, and I'm really glad we get a bit of a sort of we can get into the details of how things work. And the reason why it's important to see how things sometimes work themselves out is sometimes, and this is just some food for thought, sometimes it's good for us not to know how things are going to happen next so specifically. So we don't get in our way, get in our own head about it. We just know it's going to happen, we're excited about it, and we're sort of opening up space in the universe that it's going to happen, and trust and all that good jazz. And that's very much the case with what's going on in these two cards. This is more decision making and clear, and you doing that. These are two naturally happening type of things with attitude changes and waking up and feeling a different type of energy and stuff like that. But the reason why it's cool to know about how this is working is when we see how some things are working themselves out, we can understand a greater lesson that we can then apply going forward in our life. So with the Emperor, this male dominating controlling person and their energy, you appear to naturally be much more in control of the way you're experiencing life on an emotional level. And on a subconscious level, this kind of starts to bore them. It appears this might have been the factor that attracted them to wanting to bring this energy towards you, have it, even if they're conscious of it or not. It's like, why do they need to be emanating this energy so strongly and profusely whenever you're around or in your area or towards you? Well, it seems they might have been drawn a little bit to this sort of up and down energy you might have been struggling with prior. Because interestingly enough, they sort of get bored of you is the best way I can explain it. Like they're just not as focused on you. There's something big that happens. You just can feel the energy, sort of that attention redirected. And they seem to be redirected on somebody else who is going through a difficult time period, which is sad. We feel for that other person. But this other individual is going through a bit of a difficult time, and so they then focus that energy on that person, not to make it worse, but it seems like they're going to help them or whatever like that. And interestingly enough, we have a mirror type of situation. Previously, you were going through a tough time. Now, ironically, they were probably like a part of that, but it seems that when you no longer were in that state of being, you no longer interested in them, and so they went and found that type of attention somewhere else. And it's just something to think about, not to, how do I put this? It's one of those catch-22 things. It's like, oh, if I just had this, I'd feel better, and if I felt better, I would have this, that type of thing. But it's something to consider moving forward in life, that the second you find that natural mesh and flow of one avenue of your life that might have been difficult. When we talk about how we emotionally react to things, it's not fun to feel anxious or overwhelmed or sad, but once you got control of it, it naturally fixed another situation. And that this person's energy was sort of a sign to yourself. Remember, we are always co-creating, so you're sort of attracting in your life a sign, and this was your sign, them putting that energy onto you, saying, like, I don't feel great, this is how I feel, and sort of your environment around you is mirroring that, not as punishment, but sort of a communicative element to be like, hey, you're not feeling great. Just so you know you're not feeling great. Now, that doesn't mean you need to then move forward in life and go, but what if I'm not feeling good? Does that mean I'm going to create a negative environment? No, not at all. I'm actually really happy to say that once we start to learn and understand lessons and go, okay, I accept this. I understand that was like a message or an idea. I got that. That doesn't repeat itself. It's like we got the message, so there's not a reason for us to experience that lesson again. We got it. We figured it out. We understood it. But it is something to go forward moving in life, that if you feel like you're not really enjoying somebody else's presence, that it in turn is actually less of them having a personal problem with you, and potentially might be a sign that there's something going on with you that once you kind of like work on it, face it, whatever it is that you need to experience to deal with it, it will, it will in turn help and fix the other problems. That you're basically being given a message, you receive that message, oh, good to know, I'll go work on that, and then you go work on that, and it sort of has a beautiful domino effect of positively and changing your environment as well. Which is a lot to ask for, but I'm really happy to say with the Queen of Cups things, this is just sort of working itself out. You just keep being you and being the best version of you, but don't worry about the details. It's all working in this positive direction. Because sometimes we just wake up one day and feel a lot better. You know what I mean? Everything that you're doing to self-improve and take care of yourself is adding up. So, yay! Woo! So I'm really excited for you. Again, remember, make those good decisions. Remember that you're going to have a totally different outlook in multiple different ways. It's going to have a really positive chain reaction to other people in your life and experiences. And it's just this nice thing where suddenly you just feel way better. You feel like it's easier to make decisions. I didn't even realize, making decisions, feeling better about them emotionally, feeling like it's a little easier to sort of live life, feeling a lot better and internally healthy on multiple levels, and in turn not having those not so great vibes. It's like a beautiful chain reaction. Think of yourself as a gorgeous, radiant sun as well. I know we talked about a plant, beautiful flower, but think about a sun. You're going to radiate some good vibes, so I'm excited for that chain reaction for you. I love you to pieces. If you enjoy this, please feel free to give this video a like, a comment, subscribe. Give this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That's what it is. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one, and let's get ready for our final group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what positivity is coming your way by looking at the cards. We've got Look Within Oracle card in reverse. Okay. We have 9 of Cups upright. Ooh, King of Cups upright. Wow, look at all this water. Temperance card upright and the Justice card in reverse. Give me one moment to talk to my spirit guide and get some answers about some stuff. Oh, interesting. Okay, sorry, I was just getting some, I was just double checking on that Justice card. So let's start with the Look Within Oracle card in reverse. So this is really interesting. I'm going to be straight up with you. If you're interested, you should totally check out my intuition training course, because like a lot of what I'm seeing this reading, I go into a lot more detail and applying it and all that jazz there, and I'm just putting that out there. You do whatever feels good for you, but I'm just like saying that to put that out there. So let's get into this. So with this Oracle card, this is all about being more connected to your outside world and realizing how much whatever you're experiencing internally is being reflected back around you and at you through your environment, and that through interacting with that environment, you will in turn find a balance within by basically being able to work with that environment in almost a borderline, like the way my spirit guide described it is like ritualistic kind of way. So the best way I can explain this is it can be a super nuanced or straightforward going forward, but like let's say you're doing some yard work and you've got this wheelbarrow and you choose to save time by putting more, let's say like mulch or something like that into your wheelbarrow, and you're gonna carry that across the yard, and it's just so heavy and you feel frustrated and you feel annoyed. Maybe you're like, why isn't anyone helping me, blah blah. And this is just like checking in with yourself and going like, why am I thinking I need to make this harder than it needs to be? And you might react back to yourself and be like, well, I don't want to do it in as many loads. And it's like, okay, well then why can't you realize like you're so smart for making it shorter trips, or you're getting stronger from that? Or what if you wanted to ask somebody to help you? No, there's no one I can ask. Is there? Are you sure? You can't ask like a neighbor, or there's some friend you could call up. Well, I don't want to bother them. Why? Why can't you bother them? And you sort of check in with yourself based on what you're metaphorically working with. So when we talk about working that out, that would be you deciding, you know what, I'm either going to have a different attitude about this giant amount that I'm carrying with me in my wheelbarrow, or maybe I will call that friend. And by just simply dividing up the amount that you're carrying with you and consciously being aware of your relationship to the experience you're having, you're acting out things that you're processing internally on the outside, which is really interesting. We're going to actually come back to that concept again over here with the King of Cups. Keep that in mind. Cannot tell if my tripod is starting to... I think she was starting to tip. She is a little tippy. Okay, I'm going to hold her a little bit, so... Sorry about that. I looked at the screen and she was like starting to tilt. Going back to what we were talking about, we're going to come back to this, though, over here in the King of Cups, so keep that in mind. So the Nine of Cups. This is actually romantic-based. Traditionally, the Nine of Cups would be about getting exactly what you want, and then Seven of Cups is more of that having multiple potentially romantic partners in your life. But interestingly enough here, this is just something to keep in mind when reading tarot. Again, if you're familiar with my tarot training course, you always want to be open-minded when you're reading the cards, that things potentially might be a little bit different than how they're traditionally read. So my spirit guide was telling me this, and I was double checking that I was hearing them correctly, because I was like, well, isn't that more Seven of Cups? And they were like, no, it's Nine of Cups because of this. So like the imagery of the card, I'm very happy to say that a lot of romantic sort of potentials are going to be coming into your life. Now, the thing that's really interesting about them, my spirit guide said, is that each one of them actually has a great amount of, like, they're they seem too good to be true, but they're not. They're actually they are like they're I'm so sorry. What's the phrase? As in, they're great. There's not a hidden agenda there. They're not like lying to you. I mean, I don't know how deep we want to go with this, but they're just wonderful people that have come into your life and are interested in you. But each one, my spirit guide said, is going to have a different, special, wonderful feature about them that the other one isn't going to have. And that you should essentially enjoy yourself and sort of test each one out. Enjoy seeing all of them, the kind of thing. One might be really funny, and another one you have a lot more deep, serious conversations with. Another one's always down to go do some sort of spontaneous fun adventure for the day type of thing. And essentially this is just like a wonderful positive thing to come into your life for you to experience all avenues of enjoying being with another person and being admired as such, which is really fun. So hooray! That's amazing. I love that. But pretty straightforward. Now we have the King of Cups. So interestingly enough, as you are working on yourself and you're finding that balance, that's going to get actually repeated again also here in the Temperance card. But you are going things for a reason. So while you are figuring out how, I totally forgot to mention this. My spirit guide said that you are going to understand yourself in a way you never have before, in a much deeper way, through your interaction, as we talked about, through your environment. But in the King of Cups, or in addition in the King of Cups, things that might have been like difficult previously in your life, maybe before this working stuff out, or maybe it feels annoying to work something out and you're like, oh, why am I having to, I wish I just didn't feel this way, and so forth. You're going to really look back and realize you reaped the benefit of that experience and that insight through personal experience in the King of Cups. You're going to have people start to naturally be drawn to you, and whether you're aware of it or not, they respect you and they want to know what you think of the situation, your opinion. They want your advice, and you have some good stuff to share. But a big reason why you have good stuff to share is that as you find that inner sense of center, better understanding yourself, better finding a balance from basically taking the outside and bringing it in. Think of it like too much on outside or too much on inside. And when we talk about outside and inside, we're talking about like your environment versus the internal way you're working. And by interacting with more than the other, you're balancing it out essentially. And so you're finding that inner sort of peace. But because you experience what you experience, not only can you give practical advice because you're now on the other end of it and you're somebody who can see the bigger picture in general, but you've been through it yourself and you're able to be like, wow, it feels really good to have gone through that and basically shorten the process of feeling better and being respected for what I experienced. That, you know, sometimes when people go through really tough times, they get really drastic and view themselves as, and again, I don't want to say anything upsetting, but let me just throw some concepts out there. People might be like, oh, I'm a loser, or like, I can't believe I always wasted my time being upset by this, or oh, why can't I get over this, or whatever this doesn't mean you're any of those things. Just sometimes people throw those words towards themselves. And this is you looking back and feeling a sense of catharsis and being like, wow, no, I never was. In fact, I'm actually somebody who's found deep value in being able to give others a perspective, and I can really relate to them on a personal level from personal experience, and everything kind of happens for a reason, and I really get that, and I feel connected to the universe, and it feels like my life has always been of value. It's that type of beautiful experience, which is awesome. Now, speaking of talking about that outer inner kind of concept, we have the Temperance card. This is really cool. Essentially, because you are going to find balance, again, we talk about through, if your environment around you needs more of that interaction, it's translating to the relationship between the internal part of your self-processing emotions and how it's being reflected outside of you. Because that is being worked out the way we discussed over here, this is actually going to make you have a better relationship in both understanding and working with energy specifically. So this is the really cool thing. Energy is sky's the limit, baby. Energy is everything and everywhere and can be used in so many versatile ways. The common ones you'll hear them talk about is like they'll sense things through energies, they'll sense like concepts or feelings. People will use it for Reiki, but you can go so much deeper when using energy. You can, if you're enjoying going to the spirit realm and stuff like that, you can turn into like a bunch of energy molecules. This is something I love to do personally. And you can feel like what it feels like to essentially not have a body, if you will, and then perceive your environment in a totally different way, which will give you a deeper understanding of the world than you might have ever have known. But you can go really deep with that energy of where you transmit it, what it can essentially do. It can go beyond just feeling or sensing a concept. You can go through memories. It goes on and on and on. And in many ways that I might not find the right description or example right now, or haven't even personally experienced myself, but will one day essentially, there's a ton of options. So by you doing one thing, you're essentially activating something else. So as you naturally slip into that different type of relationship with energy, now remember, I just want to be clear about this. I made some spiritual talks videos talking about energy. I also talk about energy quite a bit on my Patreon. But remember, energy is not feelings. So you might say, when I sense this energy, I feel this. Try to remove your feelings from it, because everybody has a different perception of an energy. You might feel an energy, it might feel sad, but someone could feel that same energy and feel inquisitive about it. So remember, feelings can sometimes be deceptive and are actually byproducts of energy. Start to build up. I actually talked about this in depth on my Patreon video when somebody was asking me like how to tell the difference in your dreams between a couple different concepts. A good concept that you should try practicing is keep a journal of whenever you're sensing these energies and start to develop symbols instead, like a star, a moon, an eye, an owl, whatever. And start to find descriptive words for the energies you're sensing that is not feelings. Did it feel claustrophobic? Did it feel very light and almost as if it almost wasn't there, but you could tell something else was there? Did it feel fast? Did it feel uplifting? Try to think of different types of descriptive words and then match it to a symbol in order to create a clear language of what you're describing and feeling. And then ride that energy wave and start to work with that. Now, I can go into more depth, but to not eat up too much of this tarot video, let me know and I'll make a video how to like go deeper into energy in that kind of way. That's a whole different topic. But here's some blueprints that you can work with now. And last but not least, this one kind of surprised me. This doesn't really sound like something you really come across, but this must be important to you. It almost sounds like I'm implying something. I'm not trying to imply anything. You'll hear what I'm saying in a second, what I mean by this. So my spirit guide said that you're going to start to notice some people around you get their just desserts, so to speak. And this is, and again, not implying anything towards you, but a good way of describing this is how my spirit guide said, is the reason why this is a positive thing. That's why I was like double checking with them. I was like, am I hearing you correctly? It's because this is a reminder that the choices that you make to actively be a good person and try to rise above maybe feelings you'd like to enact and you're not quite sure, but you don't want to do that, it feels like maybe other people are rewarded in life for not doing that, and that feels frustrating. And you kind of think like, am I making the right decisions, having that type of relationship with the world and myself as I do? And essentially, this thing that's happening around you is an example that you were able to observe to say, yeah, it is worth you making the choices you're making, that it is adding up. You might not see it all the time in this lifetime or right away or right in front of you, but what you're doing and how you're choosing to live your life is valid and is something that not only on a personal level you should be proud of, but also when you were kind of maybe potentially concerned of being like, it like leading to a level where you're like, is it even worth it? It's like, yeah, it is worth it. So kind of a weird one to pop up in the reading, but I think it feels really good to know that the decisions we're making in life did add up, did mean something. It was the right thing. You should be happy that that was your natural inclination and that you're getting to enjoy the long-term benefits of it. Not necessarily the benefits of seeing other people go through their own thing, but more of an example of like yours is adding up towards something really positive for you. So yeah, love that. Also some food for thought too. The Justice card is related to karma. And the thing with karma is it's not necessarily meant to be on a system of good and bad, that type of thing. That's too small of an idea to really express the whole entirety of like the cosmos and that type of thing. But karma is something that you're meant to learn and understand. So when people make not great decisions, they're going to have to learn from that eventually. They're going to have to understand, hey, do you understand why you made the decision you made, and things to take into account, and what you're choosing to ignore, and so on and so forth. So when you choose to make the decisions you make, where you work on yourself or overcome your own personal fears and try to rise to the best occasion, be the better person, that type of thing, you're essentially working through that. And then in the long term, both in this lifetime and other lifetimes, essentially you're checking off the list, I don't need to experience any of this stuff again, which makes, moving forward in life and in other lifetimes easier, essentially. So like, keep doing it. It does add up. It does mean something. So good for you. I love that. Anyways, with all that keeping in mind, please feel free, I love you to pieces. Please feel free to give this video a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. Goodbye.